In this video, I wanted to introduce you guys to the Rifleman set that you can get on eBay for like 65 bucks. Now, disregard this over here. This is my Alice set right here, and I'm just using that as a color scheme comparison. And Alice has a kind of a reputation for having different color schemes of OD, but I just wanted to use that later on in the video to talk about different dyeing options, because obviously all this stuff isn't like this, right? The UCP pattern, right? So, with that said, this is all the Rifleman set in UCP. Now you can get the OCP if you wanted to, and that would cost like 200 bucks for the entire set, and it would be of questionable quality because, you know, it's OCP, it's the current issue, it's more the new fad, right? So the more popular it is, the more expensive it's going to be. So while it's still relatively inexpensive, I'd recommend you get your UCP set and dye it to your own needs because it's so inexpensive, there's no reason not to. So $65 overall, right? Well, I don't think that's going to be the end of your spending, but let's go ahead and talk about what it would cost piecemeal for all this stuff. So for the pack, you can look at about $40 to get it even in used condition. The bandoliers here cost like $10 to $15 a piece, depending on condition. The double mag pouches here, high wear items, and you want to make sure that your Rifleman set is actually in like new condition or brand new. I would be very stern about that and very firm because almost all of them are going to come in used condition unless they are brand new. And I'm telling you from experience, even if you're not a rifleman or you're not in the military as like a serious like shooter, like you're always shoving your mag pouches in or your mags into your mag pouches and just leaving them there. And the elastic in these double mag pouches will, you know, end up being no good after a time because obviously elastic will just kind of take the memory of the size and it won't really have its elastic properties as well in the future. So anyways, the double mag pouches can go for like $5 a piece if you get them in good condition. And you can buy them in bulk for less a piece, so like $2.50 is what I got mine for when I bought like a 10 pack. And if you buy a 25 pack, you'll buy it for like $2 a piece, maybe less. So the triple mag pouches, those are only really good for Stanags, just like the bandoliers, but if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. But each one of those can go for like $5 a piece. I've seen some sites like Sportsman's Guide try to sell them for like 10, and you know it is what it is. But they claimed it was like new, but it's still used. I would not say that it's like worth $10, especially in UCP that nobody wants. You get two magazine pouches here, which will cost about, you know, $3 a piece. They're pretty cheap because nobody really has a use for them outside of the military unless you're going to carry like a compass or some small item. Like I used to carry my cigarettes in the grenade pouches. I ended up getting a pistol mag pouch and a flashbang pouch because I guess the seller just had an extra thing that they wanted to throw in, but usually all that you're going to get is the pack, the bandolier, the fighting load carrier, the mag pouches, the grenade pouches, and you'll have the waist pack here and the canteen pouches. But the flashbang pouch or the pistol mag pouch, they can go for like $5 a piece because they're kind of, and they're not really normal items really. Now the canteen pouches, they'll go for like $3 to $5 a piece, and they're usually always in good condition because almost nobody uses canteens anymore in the military. But I would say these pouches are very good use because they can be used more than just for canteens. They can be used for medical, they can be used for admin, or even carrying extra ammunition. But I also still use them for carrying canteens. And this waist pack, you should almost always have that on your fighting load carrier because even if it's empty, it still gives you an opportunity to carry things. Like if you wanted to cross over like an extra pair of socks that's in, you know, a waterproof bag, maybe you want to carry extra ammunition, a meal, you know, whatever, you can actually carry that in your waist pack. So the waist pack can go for like 20 bucks on its own, even in UCP. So overall, you could end up spending over $100 if you were piecemeal this whole kit. Now, of course, there's some things that I don't really find all that useful for my own purposes, and that's fine, but for $65, even if not everything is useful, it's still a good value. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with the grenade pouches. I use them for like compasses and stuff like that. But I actually wanted a grenade pouch that had a fast X buckle. Just from my experience with these ones that have buttons, these don't even have Velcro on them. It's just a button. I'm not really a fan of that. And so that's just my own personal experience. Not everybody feels the same, and that's fine. but it's still a very good value. The one thing I would say to spend more money on, I think I already mentioned that before, is the canteen pouch. To spend the extra $3 or $5 to just get an extra, and also you might want to spend a little more money getting mag pouches. Now, mag pouches anywhere else for good replacement double mag pouches, you're going to be spending some money, and if you were to go with the UCP option, it's going to be way less expensive than anywhere else, really. And military surplus is almost always the best way to go. So, I would stick with UCP and just do a dye job on it. But it's not going to be an all-inclusive set. And some of these sets you'll get a hydration bladder carrier, and that might be something that you would actually use. So again, you just got to go on eBay and kind of see who's selling what and for what price, and see if you can piecemeal some of these items to get the complete set that you're really looking for. But generally speaking, you should be well under $100 getting your full set. I mean, you're getting a backpack that's still very functional, and obviously it can be dyed to whatever color scheme you want, and it can be functional once you're done. So there's really not a reason not to get the UCP gear and repurpose it for your uses and dye it according to your environment. So as I said, this Alice gear is a good reference for the color schemes that I have here. Now, I used a mix of Kelly green with taupe or camel and dark brown. The consistent colors that you'll see here are dark brown and Kelly green, or Kelly green actually, because this is the mix of Kelly green and camel, soaked for a good amount of time. I actually probably should have soaked this a little bit more. That was actually Kelly green and taupe, but it kind of has that fresh grass look to it, so it actually turned out pretty well. And this bandolier on the other side here only spent a little bit of time in a mix of Kelly green, taupe, and dark brown, and it turned out pretty well, more towards the green than anything. And the pack here was submerged in the same mixture as this, and just for a lot longer. Same with this. This actually got double dyed, because for whatever reason nylon just doesn't really take all that well. You always got to add in vinegar. It's got to be boiling hot and everything, but the nylon is so dense on this web gear that you might have to do a double job or just do them almost individually, because I took all the pouches, all the fighting load carriers and everything, and just dumped it in the same vat that I wanted to have this kind of color. And I took the ruck and this together, and I dyed it, and I had to do a double dye job on the ruck, and it ended up coming out this color, a little bit of a darker kind of muddy look to it, but it actually works very good in my area. And obviously it's not the UCP consistency anymore. It's not like light or anything, but it does have a green hue to it. And this right here isn't really gray. This is actually an OD, and I'll just bring this up, but it like matches this like perfectly. So this is like a good, nice, worn OD look to it. So if you dye it and you actually work with the pattern a bit in different vats or whatever, play around with the pouches that you're not going to use, that's where the added value comes in. Because just because you're not going to use the pouches doesn't mean that you can't use them for experimenting with different dyes or whatever. If you get worn mag pouches like this, fine, then use them as your samples to dye and kind of see how you can get the different vats to work on this gear and get UCP to be functional. You don't need to consider it a waste of money just because I'm not going to use these mag pouch or these frag grenade pouches right away. Doesn't mean they're not going to be useful in the future, or that I could actually use it as a sample to kind of test a new vat that I might use, because that's actually how I found this. I actually just used a bandolier and a sustainment pouch just to find out that I could actually get a good color schemes, and I got another video on how I was able to make UCP work, and I showed that there, where I was using like camel, Kelly green, and dark brown, and I came up with flat dark earth and this nice OD pattern. Although this comes in like Russian flora, so you can experiment with this stuff and find good usable patterns. So anyways, without drumming on and on, just wanted to show you guys that UCP is still relevant for your uses. You just need to put a little bit of work in and assemble it as needed, but you can save a lot of money getting into the tactical gear. getting into this good old surplus tactical gear without spending a lot of money like you would if you were to get like OCP or something like that, or the old school Woodland, or the old three-color Desert. That's kind of getting more expensive on the market because it's kind of drying up. So, with that said, let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and you guys have a good one.